Perhaps you're browsing through article of clothing's racks in your favorite store, or even you see a deal on a Facebook ad that appears too good to pass up. In those things, it's simple to form associate in nursing impulse purchase. How much that impulse purchase hurts your budget depends on your financial gain and monthly expenses, what proportion that item prices, and the way typically you create impulsive purchases. If you've got space in your allow them and you're proud of what you've bought, then all is also well. If, however, you're trying to find ways that to rein in impulse shopping for, whether or not that's to pay down debt or to avoid wasting for one thing you actually wish, the 30-day rule are often an excellent budgeting tool. What is the 30-day rule? The 30-day rule could be an easy strategy that has the facility to assist you management your disbursement and otherwise build the proper money decisions for you. Primarily, if you are feeling the urge to shop for one thing that's non-essential, whether or not it's during a store or online, the rule says, stop. Leave the shop. Click far from the location. A great next step is to put in writing down what you wish to shop for, alongside wherever it are often found, and its worth. Date the document, then mark on your calendar once 30 days can have passed. During that point frame, you would possibly deem whether or not you actually want the item, or, if it's a want, instead of a need, whether or not you would like to pay discretionary funds thereon. After 30 days have passed, if you continue to would like to get the item, then you'll be able to doubtless do therefore, knowing that it's not associate in nursing impulse purchase. Rather, it's a well thought out money alternative. It also can facilitate your budget to cost compare with totally different vendors when you've created your call to shop for. Sometimes, you'll discover that you simply didn't actually need the item the maximum amount as you originally believed. In those instances, you'll typically economize by preventing yourself from shopping for one thing that you simply didn't need that abundant. After all, needs versus desires, the 30-day rule are often a superb thanks to manage excess disbursement on things that are desires instead of desires. For instance, if you're out of loo paper, that clearly goes into the wants class, and doesn't match the rule. You may buy a much better worth, sure, however it's a fairly necessary purchase. If your automotive is sort of out of gas and you've ought to drive to figure within the morning, constant conception applies. Yes, if you would like to eat dinner and therefore the cabinets are vacant and therefore the refrigerator is empty, you'll want food but not essentially cut of meat and lobster. On the opposite finish of the spectrum are luxury purchases, clearly desires. This might embody spanking new piece of sparkling jewelry or a trendy combine of designer shoes during a brand new color, when you have already got that very same combine in 4 totally different hues. It may embody another top-grade fishing pole, or 2, in case friends stop by and need to fish with you. There's a middle ground, of course, wherever it's going to be more durable to make your mind up if one thing could be a want or wish, and whether or not the rule applies. For instance, you'll have a giant employment interview arising and there's a extremely sweet suit on sale. On the one hand, you'll have associate in nursing outfit which will work simply fine, however on the opposite, this one is also additional acceptable, providing you with the arrogance to wow the interviewers. Therein case, it's going to add up to deem the acquisition for every day or two, instead of for a full 30. In short, the 30-day rule is meant to assist you to manage purchases that are discretionary, not for basic desires, health, or safety. The role of FOMO disbursement. FOMO, worry of missing out. FOMO disbursement could be a kind of anxiety, triggered by the sensation that, if you don't purchase a selected item, you would possibly miss out on one thing necessary. This might happen if you see social media posts wherever friends and even perhaps individuals you don't know are shopping for one thing you don't have. This worry will considerably influence however individuals pay their cash, serving as motivation to pay funds that they can't extremely afford. FOMO is enjoying a big role in millennial debt. In line with a Credit Karma Qualtrics study of 1,045 U.S. consumers, virtually 400th of millennials have spent cash they didn't have as they struggle to stay up with others, thus going into debt. Nearly 3/4 of those millennials keep this behavior, that they've gone into debt to stay up with friends, a secret. Nearly 27th of millennials feel uncomfortable spoken language, no, to one thing they can't afford if an addict suggests the activity. The reality is that not everyone's money scenario is that the same. Your friends might earn a distinct financial gain, have a distinct debt scenario, and totally different expenses to contemplate. If you discover yourself feeling peer pressure to pay in ways in which aren't healthy for your budget, it's going to add up to return up with different, less costly activities to try to along. If, for instance, an addict suggests going out for a flick followed by a visit to the restaurant to debate the film, you may provide to borrow a classic flick from the library that you've each been needing to watch, and drink low at your home. Also, you'll need to stay a watch out for defrayment triggers. If you notice that scrolling through social media causes you to require to spend, perhaps for the newest outfit or subscription, then reducing it slow on social media might facilitate. If you're additional tempted to shop for after you use your credit or positive identification, attending to "it should be knowing bring money instead once going to spending trigger locations. If you like to buy, shop, look online, perhaps take into account visiting a brick-and-mortar store once it's time to create a buying deal. Each of those methods could be a method of active delayed gratification, and there are many edges to participating during this healthy behavior, besides from probably finished your wallet. Benefits of delayed gratification. Delayed gratification, in step with studies, is usually a private attribute found in no-hit folks. Once somebody will delay satisfaction till the acceptable time, they're additional possible to thrive financially, furthermore as in their relationships, careers, and health than those that haven't however down pat the talent. It isn't continually simple to attend once doing one thing would possibly cause you to feel sensible immediately, however waiting will cause larger rewards within the future. As this becomes a observe, it will facilitate to spice up your overall self-management and assist in achieving long-run goals. Nay, of the additional well-known studies on delayed gratification involves, of all things, marshmallows. This study was conducted at Stanford within the 1960s, with kids taken into a space wherever they ever found one candy on their plates. The research worker gave only one instruction. The youngsters might favor to eat their candy currently, or wait quarter hour so get a second. The children United Nations agency selected to attend, the researchers discovered, had higher standardized check scores. They conjointly were found to possess fewer behavioral problems and health issues. You might use this study to suppose your own ability to attend for larger rewards. That specialize in finances, you may take into account times once a fast impulse purchase didn't prove to be the most effective move, and times once saving for one thing higher was ultimately additional bountied. 30-day rule and savings. Returning to the 30-day rule, there's another twist on the delayed gratification strategy. When following the initial steps, delaying any impulse discretionary purchases, writing them down, and giving yourself 30 days to make your mind up to follow through, consider this further step. Rather than simply writing down the quantity of the discretionary purchase, you may place that quantity of cash into your bank account. As you watch it grow, you'll be less tempted to use it to shop for one thing you don't would like. And, once you increase your savings account's momentum, you'll get pleasure from seeing its growth most that you'll be less curious about FOMO purchases. It will even be converted into a game what proportion you actually will save. Here are some further savings methods to consider. Need to pay yourself first? You'll do that by having cash mechanically subtracted from your check and transferred into your bank account. You may watch however well you're meeting your savings goals and alter your budget till you discover the most effective methods for you. If you discover that the 30-day rule and/or alternative budget-savvy methods have created it simple to fulfill those goals, is it time to up the ante and save even more? If, on the opposite hand, there are luxury purchases that you just actually need to create, however they don't slot in your current budget, take into account finding a facet gig to fund them. Tracking your defrayment and saving the on top of methods all have one issue in common. They involve pursuit your defrayment and saving in order that you'll build decisions that suit your budget, lifestyle, goals, and dreams. As a part of that method, it's going to add up to spot wherever you're overspending. The truth is that it's gotten super simple to spend, and, therefore, overspend, in today's resistance money world. You may notice that you're defrayment virtually many bucks a month in ways in which you didn't notice, whether or not that's by studying a fast occasional at the drive-through window, a subscription you seldom use, or one thing else entirely. When you monitor defrayment, you'll improve what you've measured, maybe by feeding at less costly restaurants or creating food reception additional usually. Once you acknowledge what proportion you're defrayment and on what, you'll become galvanized to create larger changes. Perhaps you'll worth compare your cellular phone arrange or insurance premiums. Perhaps you'll begin riding your bike to figure rather than employing a ride share or get your books from the library, not the store. What could matter most is that you just alter your budget in an exceedingly method that produces sense for you and permits you the liberty to pay your cash on what you treasure. Yes, initially thinning out on defrayment will feel restrictive. But, it's all concerning prioritizing however you pay, thus you'll place your cash wherever it brings you the foremost rewards and pleasure. And, after you build savings into your financial statement, you'll be ready to expand on your goals. Maybe you'll put a deposit on a home, or even you would like to pay down your debt additional quickly, thus you're paying less in interest. It's all up to you.